Hey, this is Peggy with Easy Peasy Machine Embroidery. Today we're going to be working in Premiere Plus Ultra software, specifically in the Photostitch module. And if you like this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. So I clicked on the Photostitch icon on the very lower left of my screen. And this is what it opens up as. And I would recommend that anyone who is starting out doing a photo stitch to do a sepia photo stitch. The reason for that is that sepia is always 7 colors. It's always the same 7 colors. So you don't have a whole lot of thread changes and things like that to have to deal with. So today I'm going to do a sepia. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to load a picture. And as you go through your pictures, you want to find a picture that has some good contrast in it. It needs to be somewhat of a high quality, meaning probably taken with an iPhone camera or a smartphone. I thought about doing this one, but to me it looks a little tough to do for a beginner, so I'm going to pick this picture. The colors are beautiful. It would make a great photo stitch done in, full color. I'm going to crop it just a bit. Sorry about that. Phone rang. Sometimes that happens. So in either case, I cropped this photo down. Now the other thing I want you to notice on this photo is that you can see it's starting to get a little bit pixelated. This isn't the best quality photo. It's just a photo that I took off of Facebook. Here I'm going to probably just go next, but saturation, as you slide it, will change the colors. I'm going to set it back at 0. Hit next. I never do a photo stitch that is under 200 using a 200 by 200 millimeter hoop. So for this one, it's probably going to be a 260 by 200 hoop. So for my sizing, I'm going to put 240 and call it a day. The reason why I'm not doing a full 260 is that when I get done with it, it probably would say that it won't fit in the hoop when I go to export it. So I always go a little bit less. I say okay here. Yes, I know it's going to be a large photo stitch. And this is what the sepia is going to look like. So we hit next and just let it do its thing. And that is what it's going to end up looking like. And there are sometimes things that when you look at your photograph, you see, oh, I need to change something. Now's the time to notice some of those types of things. I see a little something right here that I might touch up. I'm going to go finish. And I'm going to change my hoop so that it is rotated. So there's my photo stitch. Now the thing that some people don't realize that it's there is this little tab right here. It's the picture tab. And when you go back and forth, you can see areas that you might need to clean up. So you go to the picture tab, and I may want to take and do like, whoops, Control Z. Better go get a color there. I can use the paint pail, or I can use the brush. I can take and paint certain things. And here I'm going to tell you to do your left click often, because if you make a mistake, it will only go back and correct, or it will only go back and undo to your last mouse click. If you do the whole thing using one mouse click and you make a mistake, it's going to go back and get rid of everything. So here I'm cleaning up the edges a little bit. I'm not going to do a whole lot there. I see some edges here that I can clean up. And if you want to change the color, you go down back and get the dauber. You pick the color, or you can pick from here. There is an eraser on here that if you want to erase something, you can. Control Z, and that brings it back. So that's pretty much how I do my Photoshops, or not Photoshops, photo stitches. Use the tools in here, see what they do. You've got some softening of the lines, you've got some increase the light, you've got some decreasing the light, things like that on here that you can play with. Start out with a very simple picture and work your way up. I would say that I would probably get rid of some of this stuff right here. So I'm going to take my little paint dauber, paint dauber, and grab that color of the yellow above it. I'm going to get my brush, left click, clean some of that up. When I first started using Photostitch, I didn't know about this nice little section. And once I learned how to use the paint tool, it was a huge game changer for me. Do some corrections here. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Come across to even that out. And once you've done your corrections, here's another thing I want to correct up here. I'll change that to blue. Left click to draw my color. And a little bit here. So, that being said, once I click back into Stitch, it's not going to show those changes. So what I have to do now is I'm going to go File, I have to be in the Picture tab to do this. So remember to use your Picture tab, and we're going to do a Save As. And now we're going to change the file format to BMP or JPEG, one or the other. I usually do BMP for my changes. That way I can tell the difference between the original and the one I'm playing with. And I'm just going to put it out on my desktop for now. I'm going to say New, Sepia, Next, Load Picture. And I know it's out on my desktop. There it is. Say Next. I can still crop out if I want. I'm going to say Next here. On this screen, if you had a background and you wanted to get rid of it, you can take your eraser and like totally get rid of the background. I don't like my photo stitches done with the background removed. I always do a background, but that's personal choice. We say Next here. I showed you what the saturation did already. I'm going to say Next. I'm going to say 240. Say OK here. We're going to, there's the 7 colors. If you are ever in a full color and you see that you want to change one of these colors, you just highlight it and go down to Change Thread. The other thing that you can do is if you end up with 40 colors, you can, say I only want 25 colors and apply it and see how 25 colors looks. Often there won't be a huge difference when you do that. We say Next. Let it do its thing. I'm going to say Finish here. If there's anything I think still needs correcting, maybe this up here could be changed a little bit. But I pretty much like the way this was going to stitch out. And I can also go to Life View. And it'll show me. I can zoom in. I can see some of these stitches that are going to be jump stitches that I'll have to take out later. I can see that there is a little outline around the dog. I quite often will take my little paintbrush and do a different color outline around things. Just makes them stand out more, and I like that better. You can turn it upside down, see what it's going to look like dimensional. You can move it around. Okay, so that's how I do the Photoshop. The other thing is, yes, I keep saying Photoshop. The other thing is when you are stitching out a photo stitch, turn your thread cutter off or you will probably have some problems. With the Apex and above, probably one or two of the lower machines, they have a thread portioning system, and if you get massive thread cuts and whatnot, jump stitches, they tend to get wound around those portioning wheels. Ask me how I know. I had to send my machine into maintenance and it was gone for 2 weeks. So Let's go back into a new file. This time we're going to do color photo stitch. And I'm going to load the same picture. I'm going to crop it. This one I'm going to try to make as more of a square type picture. I'm not going to take the background out of there, but if I wanted to, it would be right here. And I just erase the background so it's just the man and the dog sticking up and no sunrise behind it. The saturation's here. If you want to play with the colors. I like the colors that are there, so I'm going to go back to 0. If you had a red eye, you could use this toggle switch to click on the eye and it would turn it away from that red. And this is pretty much almost a square picture. So I would do a 200 by 200 hoop. So I would probably do a 190. And see, that's going to be over my limit of 200. So I'm going to go down. This is the one I'm going to change. 180 and 164. Perfect. It's going to spin it. Here we have 10 colors. I can say I want 8 colors and hit apply. Watch the screen on the right and see what it does. See the differences. If you can live with that, then you only have 8 threads to deal with. If you see a color that you don't have or can't get, for instance, quite often I'll see like an army green, which is really hard to find in some of the stores. I'm going to go to my threads, and those are my threads. These are the threads that I have currently in my thread cache. So I know I've got those threads. Just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to go back here and click the next. So that's what the picture is going to look like, and I can see that I'm going to have some work to do. And I'm going to do a reset here. So I go back to the full 10 colors. I'm going to go into next. And now I'm going to go into finish. Okay, there's my photo. I am going to go into the picture. And all this with his head, I'm going to try to make that all black, or whatever color that is. So I just go get my little paintbrush, and I got that black color by picking on the selecting the pick color and then picking the color I wanted to have on my paintbrush. And then I'm just going to kind of go around. Remember to do lots of left clicking. I'm going to pick that darker color. I'm going to now go get my pale, and I'm going to click in there. And that's the color I really want. So I'm going to finish it off. As I get up closer to the head, I am going to use a smaller brush. I'm also going to go down here and use the zoom. And you can see how this picture is pixelated. It's not an original picture. It's just something off of Facebook. But for the purpose of this, it will do. So basically, you end up doing the whole picture, changing colors, even up lines, things like that. Remember to, here's another thing we could do. The dog, we want basically a silhouette. And I know this dog has a tail. And I know this dog has some feet. And I'm left clicking and doing an outline here. And then I can go ahead and get a bigger brush and do a whole lot of the interior. I did this with a dog and an army person silhouette. And did an applique on a flag just like this. And it looked pretty cool. So anyway, that's basically how I alter my photos. Get in there and play. Get in there and use that paint. Remember that when you're in the picture tab, that's how you save things. You can hit the little diskette and make sure you save it something other than your original. Just you can say copy, or so you know that when you are bringing it back into the software with the alterations that you've done, you know which one is the right one to bring back in. Okay, hope some of you have learned a little bit. It takes just the right picture to do these. It has to have a lot of contrast. I've had people ask me to do dogs that were like all one color, or pictures of people with, you know, hair that is flying out all over the place. Those are really hard to do. There needs to be a lot of contrast if possible to get your best photo stitches. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.